Another day working on the FXR. I've drained the fluids, and I think today's goal is going to be getting the transmission out. I think that's the next logical step in the process here. So we'll see how this goes. The transmission does mount to the motor and to the swing arm, and I know that I've run into swing arms that have been cut in the past because the transmission didn't come out properly. The bushings were essentially welded in there, couldn't be pressed apart. I'm hoping that's not the case today. The bushing mounts here do look good, but we won't know till we get into it. At this point, the start point for me is going to be pulling this shaft out of here, the swing arm bolt, try to get that separated, and then we'll pull the front or the rear motor mounts, front transmission mounts, and it should be free. I believe I've got everything out of the way that potentially was in the way, except for a few wires and the clutch cable. But once those things are done, then I'll be able to go through and pull this. So we'll start with this here. See if we can get this off and get it moving. Hopefully that comes out easy. Well, the nut came off easy. Let's see what the other side does. It looks like the nut has come off both sides easy enough. I'm not sure if I can just press it through. Curious. Not sure what the right order of operations is here. Unfortunately, I haven't taken one of these apart. I did get the swing arm pivot shaft pulled, and now the transmission and the swing arm are free. It may be creating too much pressure on the motor mounts. I guess we'll find out. We'll go ahead and we'll undo the wiring that's here and then undo the top, the rear motor mounts, front transmission mounts, and hopefully that will let the transmission come free. Find out soon if that's going to work. I may have done this incorrectly in the wrong order here, but I'm not sure. Pivot shaft did come out easily, easier than I expected it to. I was able to drive it out with a piece of grade 8 rod. No, that's not the right way to do things, but it's the tool and the resource that I had, so that's what worked for me. Removing the oil pressure sensor wiring, trying to get that out of the way. And because that runs underneath the mount for the clutch cable, I'm going to go ahead and pull that mount for the clutch cable real fast here. That way I can get the wiring out of the way and then I can deal with the clutch cable later. Of course, the clutch cable is in good shape, so it'll go with the transmission when that goes up for sale. I haven't looked inside to see what the gears look like, but I would suspect they looked good. Being that the bike ran nice and did shift really well going down the road, I feel like the gears inside of it are going to look really nice, especially after seeing the inside of the inner primary yesterday and seeing how good that looked in there. I'm going to bet that it looks just as good on the inside of this transmission. Unfortunately, I don't have a long enough wrench to be able to get enough leverage on that, so we're using the 32 ounce Milwaukee dead blow. It's been a great hammer. I really do enjoy using it. It gave me just enough to move these things in a place where I should be able to turn them out now, which they are working a lot easier and they are backing out nicely. I'm not sure if there's other mounts on the bottom side of this. I keep looking, but I don't see anything. I'm used to, shovel head, pan head, flat head transmissions where you had a transmission mounting plate, which allowed you to, obviously move the transmission forward and backward and adjust your primary tension. But I'm not seeing that option here. And I'm probably missing it. It could be on the other side, but typically there was a fifth mount right here on a lot of the modern ones, especially with the kicker. And maybe when that went to all electric start, no kick option, it changed over. Something I haven't run into a whole lot. There's one bolt removed. We'll get the other one out from the other side. With the swing arm pivot bolt removed and the two rear motor mounts removed, the transmission is now sitting loose in the bike. I just have to look over and see what's left here, what might be in the way, what I need to move to be able to get the transmission out, if it can come out in its current state. I think that it can. Hoping that I can pull it today. The goal has been to try to keep this bike as much a roller as possible, but obviously if I have to take the rear wheel off and the rear end apart, I can. I did put the jack in place today just to support it a little bit. I was worried about more oil leaking, so I did keep the pan underneath it just to capture everything that is leaking out. I believe in its current state, I'm pretty close to being able to pull it. It looks like everything is free. I think the only thing that it's actually setting on right now is the actual swing arm. And I don't know that there's anything else holding it together. So that's something I'll have to figure out if I can just pull it apart from here. Which I might be able to separate it with a pry bar. Potentially. Trying not to damage anything. Oh yeah, this should come right apart. I do still have the rear drive belt intact. It may be a point of hang up for pulling this out, but I believe that's the only thing that's really in play here as far as why this transmission would not come out. The swing arm is still attached to the transmission itself, mostly because of where it's at, but I should be able to pry this apart the rest of the way. I feel like it's going to move completely out of the way. Of course, everything's covered in oil, so that makes it that much more interesting. With the back of the bike now lifted, I'm going to pull the rear wheel. I think at this point in time it makes sense to actually pull the rear wheel. That way I have that out of the way. The swing arm will come with that, and then I'll be able to remove the transmission. If I need to roll the bike around at that point, I can reattach the rear wheel, put the swing arm back in place, and then move it around. I don't feel I'll have to. I just was thinking it'd be nice if I needed a spare lift. I do have my other lift over there with the 48 on it. That moves way easier than this would at this point, so I think I'm going to commit and pull this rear wheel. That way, it's just one more process done. So I'll go ahead and I'll get the rear wheel undone, get that pulled out of the way, and then I'll start working on getting the swing arm out, and then the transmission should be completely free. And then that part will be out. And then from there, we'll see where to go. Get my 15-inch crescent wrench here. I love this wrench, it gives you a ton of leverage. Obviously another great Milwaukee tool that I picked up. I got this shortly before I got my giant toolkit, my mechanics toolkit, and this thing has been just a beast of a tool. It's well built, it's heavy duty. I mean, it gives you a ton of leverage. And if you're looking for the part number, it's 48-22-7415. So if you get the opportunity to pick up a 15-inch Milwaukee crescent wrench, this would be the one. I'm not sponsored by Milwaukee. I wish I was. That'd be super fantastic if they wanted to reach out and give me some sort of sponsorship, because I do primarily use only their tools. I know I'm doing these processes all wrong today. Not thinking about tension points and how things are sitting, not properly. I know that I'm creating a lot of downward pressure on this. With both of the shocks removed from the swing arm, the axle pulled and the upper belt guard removed, I was able to move the wheel enough to push the belt aside, and now I'm able to pull the rear wheel. So that's the next step here, is to get the rear wheel off. And the swing arm is coming with it, which is good, I guess. I know these brakes are hooked in here a certain way. Not sure how, so maybe I'll just pull that and get it on the ground if I can, hopefully not knocking the bike over. Okay, got the swing arm removed, the rear wheel removed. The transmission is now just setting on the frame. Of course, that was a little bit of a struggle. Being that it was on the lift and not properly done, I did have to fight it to get it out, unfortunately. For whatever reason, brake fluid and my skin do not agree at all. That stuff just burns. Had to take a minute and wash my hands to get the brake fluid off. Now I should be able to pick the transmission up and actually bring it out of the bike. The hope is that it'll come up without the swing arm attached now. Should be able to be removed. The belt is out of the way. Not exactly sure which side it's supposed to come out, if it's supposed to come out this side or that side. I feel like that side would be the easier side, so I'm going to attempt that. And as you can see, we've got one transmission removed. Well friends, this is where we're going to end the video today. We've gotten to a good stopping point, and I've got some parts here to clean up and get ready to list online, and I'll be doing that shortly. As always, I appreciate you guys following the project along, seeing the progress every day. If you like the video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up or a like. As always, share with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate the subscriptions and my subscribers, both new and old. I'm very happy to have you guys following the projects along. This bike should be done shortly, and I've got another one to put on the lift to tear down. So hopefully we'll get to that in the next week or so and keep these projects moving along. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.